Welcome to Daily News in AI Agents, the place to get a quick roundup of the most exciting developments in AI agents every day. Subscribe to our LinkedIn newsletter today in the link below to stay activated.
All right, let's unpack this. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the world of AI agents.
Okay.
You've sent us a fascinating mix of articles, research summaries, and even some YouTube videos. Looks like you want to understand what all the buzz is about.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of excitement around AI agents right now.
So let's explore what AI agents actually are, how they're already changing industries, and we'll even touch on the potential risks they pose.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first things first, what exactly is an AI agent?
Right, so you sent over this article from Swimlane, and they describe an AI agent as a system that can basically perceive its environment, make decisions, and then take actions to achieve some kind of specific goal.
Okay, so it's not just passively responding to commands, it's acting autonomously.
Exactly. It's like giving it a job description and then setting it loose to figure out the best way to complete the tasks.
So like in that restaurant booking example from the swim lane article,
Yeah.
the AI agent was able to understand what the user was asking, access the necessary information, and then actually make the booking without any human intervention.
Right, and the cool thing is that it's not just limited to simple things like that. We're seeing them applied in a bunch of different industries.
Like what?
Well, customer service for one, and even complex document processing.
The article mentioned that Swimlane is integrating AI agents into their security operations platform to detect and respond to cyber threats.
That's a great example because AI agents can actually outperform humans in tasks that require really fast analysis and response.
Oh, wow. So how does that work?
Well, they can sift through huge amounts of data, identify patterns that humans might miss, and they could even take steps to contain a threat before it becomes a bigger problem.
So they're like always on, always vigilant security guards.
Exactly. And the investment that we're seeing in this field shows just how much potential it has.
Like what kind of investment?
Well, for example, Innovaxer just raised $275 million to develop AI co-pilots for the healthcare industry.
AI co-pilots. So are we talking about AI assisting doctors during surgery?
Not quite surgery, but think more like analyzing patient data, streamlining administrative work, or even flagging potential risks that a human doctor might overlook.
So basically helping doctors make better decisions.
Yeah, the idea is to augment human capabilities, not replace them entirely.
You know, there were a couple of articles from MarkTech Post that I found really interesting.
Like?
One was about AI agents helping researchers, and another one was talking about how to optimize the performance of these language-based agents.
Right, and what's really cool is that these agents are being designed to handle much more complex multi-step processes.
Oh, wow.
Things like conducting literature reviews, analyzing data sets, or even generating hypotheses.
So we're seeing AI agents being used in all sorts of different ways, and it seems like they're getting better all the time.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to this thing called the GAIA benchmark.
Okay.
I have to admit, this one kind of lost me. What is that all about?
So imagine like the Olympics, but for AI agents. GAIA, which stands for General AI Agent for Image and Language. Understanding is basically a benchmark to test how well these AI agents can perform in complex real-world tasks.
So instead of running and jumping, they're doing things like planning a trip or proposing a business email.
Exactly. And for a long time, AI agents were struggling to even reach 40% of human-level performance on this GAIA benchmark.
Oh, wow.
But recently, H2O.ai made a big breakthrough, and they achieved a 65% capability score.
65%. So what did they do differently to get that kind of result?
Well, they combined Anthropic's powerful language models with a set of specialized tools. It's kind of like giving the AI agent a really well-equipped toolbox.
I see.
And what's interesting is that it wasn't some radical new invention. They just found the right combination of existing technologies, and they applied them in a smart way.
So if we're already at 65%, does that mean we're on the fast track to having AI agents that can basically do anything a human can do?
Well, that's a great question, and it leads us to a really fascinating idea, which is the possibility that these practical AI agents might actually be a stepping stone to something even bigger.
What do you mean?
Artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
Okay, so instead of trying to create some super intelligent AI all at once, we're kind of building it piece by piece, agent by agent.
Exactly, and the GAIA results suggest that we might not need some huge technological leap to get to AGI. It could just be about continuing to refine these specialized agents and then finding ways to connect them so they can work together.
That makes a lot more sense than the whole singularity idea where AI suddenly becomes super intelligent overnight.
Right. It might be a much more gradual evolution driven by the increasing capabilities of all these different AI agents working together.
Which brings up another question. If these agents are getting so smart, how do we make sure they're being used for good?
Yeah.
I mean, you sent an article about a soldier using ChatGPT to plan an attack, and that's a little alarming.
It definitely is a valid concern, and it highlights the need for us to carefully consider the potential risks that are associated with this technology. After all, any powerful tool can be misused.
And it's not just about malicious intent either, right? There's also the potential for unintended consequences, like AI agents being used for things like phishing scams or even spreading misinformation.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to have strong cybersecurity measures in place and to be really careful about the information that we're consuming online.
So it sounds like we need to be having some serious conversations about how to mitigate these risks as these AI agents become more powerful.
Absolutely. And that's where you, the listener, come in. This is not just a conversation for tech experts or policymakers.
Yep.
It's something that we all need to be thinking about and engaging in.
Well, before we get too deep into the ethical weeds, let's take a moment to just kind of digest everything we've talked about so far.
Okay.
We've learned what AI agents are, how they're being used, some of the potential risks they pose, and this idea that they might be leading us towards AGI.
Right. And when we come back, we'll delve deeper into this idea of AI agents as a possible stepping stone to artificial general intelligence.
Okay.
We'll also explore what kind of impact this could have on the future of work and what it means for us as humans living in a world that's increasingly shaped by these intelligent machines.
Sounds good. I'm ready to dive back in.
Me too.
All right, so before we went to that quick break, we were talking about how these AI agents could actually be leading us towards AGI.
Yeah, it's a fascinating idea, isn't it?
For a long time, AGI has been this kind of holy grail for AI researchers, but it seems like it's a lot harder to achieve than people originally thought.
It really is that classic image of a single super intelligent AI that can do anything a human can do that's proving to be really tough.
So instead of trying to build it all at once, what if we're actually kind of laying the groundwork with these more practical AI agents that are focused on specific tasks?
It's like we're building AGI brick by brick.
Exactly. And those GAIA benchmark results that we were talking about kind of support that idea.
Right. H2O.ai's breakthrough wasn't just about getting a high score. It was about how they got there.
Yeah, they used a bunch of different tools. It's like they gave the AI agent a whole toolkit to solve problems.
And that suggests that we might not need some crazy new invention to reach AGI.
So maybe it's more about finding clever ways to combine the technologies that we already have.
Exactly. And this has some pretty big implications for the future of work.
You mean like robots taking all the jobs?
Well, not necessarily. It could actually lead to more collaboration between humans and AI.
So instead of mass unemployment, we might actually see the rise of these superpowered teams where humans and AI work together.
Right. AI could handle those repetitive data-heavy tasks, and humans could focus on the things that AI is not so good at, like creativity, strategy, empathy, things like that.
So we can leverage the strengths of both humans and AI.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation.
But as these AI agents become more capable, they're going to need more resources, right? Like more processing power, more data. What about the impact on the environment?
That's a really important point. The energy consumption of these large language models is definitely a concern. And as they become more complex, that demand for computing power and data storage is just going to keep growing.
So we need to think about sustainability.
Absolutely. It's crucial that we develop these AI systems with the environment in mind.
And it would be a shame if only large companies with tons of resources could actually benefit from this technology.
Right. We need to make sure that these AI advancements are accessible to everyone.
So access, equity, and sustainability, these are all really important considerations.
And they all tie back to the need for responsible development, ethical guidelines, and regulations to make sure that AI is used for good.
Okay, so we've talked about what AI agents are, how they work, their potential to change all kinds of industries, and the possibility that they might be the key to unlocking AGI.
And we've also touched on some of the risks, like the potential for misuse and the need for sustainable development.
Right. It's a really complex and rapidly evolving landscape, and it seems like our listeners are just as fascinated by it as we are.
Definitely. We got a ton of really great questions from them.
They're really insightful, and they touch on some of the bigger questions that are raised by this whole AI agent revolution.
Let's dive into those now and see what our listeners are thinking about.
Okay, so we're back, and we've got a ton of great questions from our listeners.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's really interested in this AI agent stuff.
It's definitely a hot topic. One question that came up a few times is if AI agents can already do so much, what's left for humans to do?
It's a question that comes up a lot when we talk about new technologies.
Like, are we all going to be out of a job?
Well, if you look back at history, new technologies don't usually lead to mass unemployment. They usually create whole new industries and job opportunities that we couldn't have even imagined before.
One of the articles you sent mentioned the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
It automated a lot of manual labor jobs, but it also led to tons of new professions.
Exactly. And I think the same thing's going to happen with AI agents.
So instead of worrying about what jobs AI will take away, we should be thinking about the new opportunities that it will create.
Exactly. It's about adapting and evolving.
So what kind of skills do you think will be most valuable in a world where AI is taking care of a lot of the routine stuff?
I think it's going to be those uniquely human skills that are really hard for AI to replicate.
Like what?
Things like creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving, and the ability to connect with other people on a deep level. Those are the skills that will be in high demand.
It's almost like we're leveling up as a species, right?
Yeah, moving to a higher plane of work and creativity.
And it's not just about work either. This could also free up time for other things like leisure, personal growth, pursuing our passions.
Imagine a world where AI agents manage our schedules, handle our finances, plan our trips, even help us with our creative projects.
It sounds amazing, but what about the potential for misuse? I mean, we've talked about AI agents being used for things like phishing scams, but what about surveillance and control?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. If these agents can access our data, our communications, even our physical spaces, we need to make sure that our privacy and autonomy are protected.
So we need to establish some boundaries.
Absolutely. And it's not just up to the tech companies or the governments to decide how these technologies are used. It's up to all of us.
We need to be informed and engaged, and we need to demand transparency and accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that ethical considerations are built into these systems right from the start.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we choose to use it.
It's about shaping the future, that we want to live in a future where AI helps us to become better, not worse.
Well said. So here's a final question for everyone to think about as AI agents become more and more integrated into our lives. What does it actually mean to be human in an age of intelligent machines?
That's a great question, and I don't think there's an easy answer.
It's something we'll all need to keep thinking about as the technology continues to evolve.
Definitely. But one thing's for sure, the choices we make today will shape the future of AI and the future of humanity.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
It's been a great discussion.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI agents.
It's been a pleasure.
We've only just scratched the surface, but hopefully this has given you some food for thought.
And hopefully it's inspired you to keep learning and exploring the amazing possibilities of AI.
Thanks for listening.